Hey, how's it going? Brian here. And today I want to talk about what is likely one of the most misunderstood and probably most quoted metrics in marketing. This metric or this number is something you're going to hear about. You're going to hear it talked about in e-commerce. People are going to ask you what this number is, and then you're going to give it to them, and then they're going to make all these suggestions about how to optimize, this number and what it means for your business and what you need to do. The reality is this number, which I'm going to share in a second, isn't actually that important. In fact, it's not important at all. It's representative and indicative of the number that actually matters, the number you actually want to optimize for. But in and of itself, it's not the thing to focus on. So I'm talking about average order value. And people will say this all the time. What's your average order value? How much are people spending when they buy? Or average cart value, you may have heard. And it is very important. But what it's actually indicative of, and the thing you need to optimize for, is average order profit. So stop thinking about AOV and start thinking about AOP, because that ultimately is the driver of either growth and profitable growth or demise. Because if you don't know that number, it's going to be impossible for you to scale your business profitably and scale it without, a runaway train getting away from you and then suddenly realizing, oh wow, we've way overspent. And I want to point out, one of my goals in the content, whether it's the podcast or the videos I create, we obviously talk about marketing and e-commerce, but one of the things I always want to do is help give you clarity around the numbers in your business and the most important numbers, and then what to do about them. So that's kind of one of the things I'm going to break down in this video. And it reminds me of a quote actually by Gary Halbert, great copywriter. Look him up, study his material. It'll help you immensely in business. And he talked about how no matter what business you're in, it doesn't matter what you sell, you are in the arithmetic business. There's some basic numbers you have to know, and when you know them and know how to apply them, it gives you a huge competitive advantage, because you'd be shocked how many sellers, particularly e-commerce sellers, and I don't know why this happens, just don't have the familiarity around these numbers. So by you tuning in and absorbing this and applying it, it's going to give you a huge advantage in your business relative to your competition. So what I want to do for the rest of the video is I want to show you, we build a lot of internal calculators that we use with our e-com legacy clients and to analyze the data and to understand what we need to do to help scale their brands as fast as possible and obviously do it profitably. So I'm going to share one of the internal tools that we built, and don't worry about all the numbers and stuff. I'm going to explain it. But I want to just illustrate why average order value actually isn't that important and why you need to be optimizing for. So you need to be trying to maximize average order profit. And if average order value goes up as a consequence, great. But average order profit is what's actually going to dictate how fast and how efficiently you can scale your business. So let me go ahead, let me slide this out of the way, and I'll share this with you. We'll go from here. All right, so let me just tuck this into the corner here, and let me go here. Okay, so again, don't worry about all these numbers, and there's actually more that I could break into, and maybe in the future I'll do separate training and videos and stuff on some of these other things. But I'll point out what's important, so don't worry about going through all this. But here I have a typical sales funnel. Now again, this could apply to if you're using something like Clickfunnels. It could apply to your e-commerce store too, right? Because you're going to offer a quantity of an item, of a primary item. So in this case, it's an item that costs $59, right? And you have a margin on that item, a profit margin on that one item. And then bump, this is a Clickfunnels term, order bump, but this is just a pre-purchase upsell. So this could be, there's a lot of ways to do pre-purchase upsells. We experiment and test with this all the time to try to bump up our average order profit. But bump is just a pre-purchase upsell. Before people buy, there's something they can add to their cart. And then you have your one-time offers or your upsells post-purchase. And typically you'll see about 2 or 3, but here we've got spots for 3 of them. So here's some basic stats. 100% of people are buying the one offer, right? Because it's $59. So I'm not saying your conversion rate's 100%. I'm just saying there's only one option. So if you buy, you're only buying the one option for $59. And 10% of people are taking this pre-purchase upsell. After the purchase, 5% are taking the first upsell, 5% taking the second upsell. And here's how much the items actually cost. So I'm using this as an extreme example because I want to point out why average order value is completely meaningless. Because here, if you look here, it says $62.10. That's my average order value. So if you go to someone like, what's your AOV? And you're like, $62 and whatever, 10 cents or 62 bucks. Like, oh, that's great. And then they'll start talking about all the ways to like optimize your funnel and run ads and how much you can pay to acquire a customer. And at the end of the day, if these are your margins, if this is your profit margin, you actually can't spend that much to acquire a customer because your overall margin on everything that's ordered in this sale is a little over 10%. It's about 11%. So you actually $62, but you made less than $7. So I've got some stats here, which are actually pretty good stats. If let's say you were running ads like Facebook ads, spent $1,200, had 2,000 clicks, so that's about 60 cents a click, which is very good. $62 average order value, 2.5% conversion rate on cold traffic. That's amazing. So you had 50 buyers. But here at the end of the day, you ended up losing $858. Now, if you try to build a business with your $62 average order value with decent cost per click, really good conversion rate, and you start scaling this, unless you have funding, right? You're private equity or venture capital backed or something where you can just focus on burning cash to go acquire customers and then figure out how to be profitable later. This model right here is going to spiral out of control very quickly because even your ROAS, your return on ad spend is going to be 2.59. That sounds great, right? Most people would say, oh, that's a great ROAS. Well, with that margin, if you don't have a ROAS of 9.09, so 9 or higher, you're losing your shirt. So with a $24 cost per acquisition, you can't go very far with $6.83 in profit. And this is my main point for you. And we're going to play around with this because I'm going to share some strategies on what you can do today to start bumping up average order profit and how to see this game a little bit differently. Because ultimately, that is the name of the game. The game is acquire as many customers as you can at break even or better and maximize the value of those customers over the lifetime of their relationship with you. I mean, that in its simplest form, that's it. Find a way to acquire as many customers without losing money acquiring them and make as much money as you can after you acquire them as customers. Lifetime value, right? So, and I'll share some strategies, but I just want you to take note of this, that in this example, this average order value means nothing if these are your margins, because if all you have is $6.83, that's the amount of profit you have in that 62, and it's costing you 24. And actually, in an ad campaign that's pretty successful. I mean, the ad is working really well. The problem is not on the ad side; it's on the funnel side. It's on the margin side. For how long can you spend $24 to acquire a customer when you've only got $6.5, $7 to spend in your budget, right? So the focus then, the thing you have to optimize for, the thing you're really trying to maximize is this number here. This is the name of the game. That's the number you got to get up, okay? So let's talk about some strategies on how you can do that. So one of the easiest things you can do, and there's a lot of different ways to do this. This is one of the things that we test with our clients because we're always looking for ways to maximize not AOV, but AOP. Because the reality is if I have 100% margin, but my average order value is only $25, but it's 100% margin and I have $25 in profit, in average order profit, with a $24 cost per acquisition, I'm making $1 every time I acquire a customer. Yeah, how many customers can I buy at a discount, right? So average order value is nice, but what we care about is that average order profit. So what are some strategies to bring that up? So one of the first things you can do is offer multiple quantity options. So there's a lot of ways to do this, but let's just take a simple example. Let's say it's a $59 item, and in this example, we're going to do, and actually we can do a lower cost item with a higher margin multiple quantity. So here's what I mean. Watch what happens when I take a $59 thing, which is like, yeah, sweet, it's a $59 item, but it has a crappy 10% margin. What if we do a, let's say, $39 item? I'll just input the numbers in here, but it has a 70% margin. I mean, that change alone, look what it did to our profit loss, right? It made this a successful campaign. So let's just not take as extreme of an example. Let's say a $29 item with a 60% margin, okay? So now we've closed the gap. We were losing 800 and some dollars before. Now we've closed the gap a little bit. But now let's go a step further. Let's offer multiple quantities of it. So we can offer 2 of them, and we can offer 3 of them, okay? And let's say that we take a loss on the margin because as we go down, we're giving a discount, right? Because chances are we're bundling, giving a discount. So we have a 50% margin and let's say a 40% margin. Now, not everyone's going to buy the first one. Generally, what we see is a 60-30-10 break. But let's say that most people still go for the higher one. So we'll say 65, what would that be? 65, 25, 10? Yeah. Okay. So see how we're starting to close the gap now. So we started with a $59 item with a 10% margin, and that just destroyed our model. Our average order value has plummeted from $62 to $45, but our overall margin has shot up, which has given us $22, almost $23 now in profit, AOP, which is really the number we care about to go and acquire the customers. Make sense? So then what are some other tweaks we can make to this funnel? Or to this order, because this is not just a funnel like Clickfunnels. You can do this in your Shopify store, and if you're not, you should be. All right, so now let's take a higher margin, lower priced pre-purchase upsell that more people will take. So it's not uncommon for us to get a 30% take on a $495 item that has 100% margin. Okay, now you're probably wondering what has 100% margin. I can do a breakdown later on of like what are some of the things we use in that pre-purchase upsell. But you can see that change alone. So we were in the negative. We were still losing a little bit of money, but much better. But that change alone. So again, think about this. This is the important point. We lowered the price of the item, increased the margin, and increased the conversion rate. So the overall profit contribution skyrocketed. We went from 21 cents in contribution per order to $1.49 in contribution per order. So that change bumped us over that threshold, which made us profitable on acquisition. And now this model, assuming that we got a pretty decent sample size, we have 50 orders, right? 2,000 clicks. This scales, right? And we can get even more aggressive to give us more margin of safety because if ROAS starts to deteriorate as we scale budget, because that happens, well, now we have more room to play with. So now we can start messing around with, hey, what if we can get 10% on a $24 item with a 70% margin? You can see how little by little we're bumping up this number. That's the number that matters. And obviously there's a lot of variations of this, of what we can do and test. And this is what we're always optimizing for our clients because we're trying to figure out how do we drive up average order profit that gives us the most firepower and ammunition to go out and buy as many customers as we can with advertising, which we then, if you've seen and I'll link out to it at the end here, but if you've seen the breakdown I did on why the marketing funnel is completely wrong, and I'm probably being a little dramatic, but because it has value, but the problem is it pre-frames the conversation completely the wrong way. All the value in your business is actually post-purchase, so the marketing funnel is a horrible way to think of, I think, conceptually of how marketing works. But if our focus is let's get as many customers as we can, which we now can afford because of the profit, and now let's focus on maximizing that value. Now you're building a brand. You're building something that actually has market enterprise value that people will pay for. So hopefully this is helpful and this gives you some ideas. And that's the main thing. Again, I want to give you clarity around these numbers, not just what the numbers are, but help you understand what it is that you need to be doing so that you can figure these numbers out and then what you need to do to implement and get the results in your business you can actually scale. So if you enjoy this, please go ahead, click subscribe, and that lets me know that you're enjoying the content and I can keep creating more videos and training like this for you. So you can help you grow your business. All right, talk to you soon. Have a great rest of your day.